Okay, so just get yourself set up. There's no rush to get into the practice. We will start in child's pose. But if you want to make this a little bit more gentle from the start, you can use like a longer pillow, so bolster style, or you can use a couple of shorter pillows. And you can always take those underneath your belly and your chest to lay across. So that's just going to give you a little bit more of that rounding of spine. This will be more gentle for your back, and will just be nice to release the muscles of the QL, all those muscles that attach in towards your spine. Okay. You don't have to use props today. This is totally optional, but know that props are always there, whether it's using blocks or pillows or rolled up blankets can be really great too. Just roll up a couple blankets or towels. Okay, so if you do need to go get those or add in any additional props, just doing so now. Okay, beautiful. And then just simply start to settle into your body. Notice where you choose to land tonight on your mat and what this practice will be. So yin sometimes we look at as a really good stretch and opening for the body. Sometimes yin tends more towards the side of relaxation, of softening, of creating space. And sometimes we're not really sure what we're choosing to land on our mat with, but we just take it breath by breath. So just become aware of kind of how you're feeling as you settle into this pose. And then for the next hour, can you make it a priority to simply choose yourself? That this practice doesn't have to meet expectations of any other time that you've landed on your mat. That it doesn't have to be perfect by any means. That this practice is really just an opportunity to sit with yourself. And maybe even for the first time today, to just choose you and put your needs first, to give back to yourself for everything that you've given out. It's like filling your cup back up. As you become aware of your breath, can you just allow your breath to deepen? Naturally, taking a little bit more space on the inhale and lingering longer on the exhale. As you breathe deeper and slower, notice how that urge to move or shift starts to just fade away as you begin to settle in towards your body and towards the ground. Feel your hips sink closer towards your heels. And what does this space offer you right here? Space to listen to your thoughts, to reconnect to your body, to your heart. Space to just simply be. Dropping the expectations, rights or wrongs, all of the shoulds. And just simply landing as you are. What a beautiful practice to show up somewhere and just be accepted for however you've shown up, even if that's far from perfect that day. Take 3 more breaths and embrace yourself with this acceptance. This practice of accepting you is also a practice of choosing yourself, of honoring the respect that you are worthy to be accepted, no matter how you show up. And slowly, just take your time easing out of child's pose and start to shift forward, hips lift away from your heels, meet into a tabletop. If you do have a bolster or a block underneath you, you can always just slide it off to the side or forward. And then you can either come into down dog or tuck your toes of your right foot and just stretch your right leg back. You can press into your hands and lean into your right leg. If you want to take down dog, that'll be a little bit more of an active transition. Otherwise, you can just switch between the left and the right side of stretching one leg back and then bringing that knee in and taking the left toes back and pressing through the left heel. Just bringing some length to the backs of your legs. And for this next pose, I love using props for space, but you don't have to. If you do want to use props, you can grab a block or a block-like structure like a book, and you can grab a pillow. Tonight, I'm going to use copper as my pillow. So from your tabletop, just start to lower yourself down onto your belly so that your elbows land about under your shoulders. So your pillow can land underneath your armpit so that your belly has a place to rest. And then if you want to rest your head, you can always use a block or a stack of books to rest your forehead on. That pillow that you just place underneath your heart or your upper part of your belly just holds you up into place instead of you feeling like your arms need to hold you up. If you feel this a lot into the low back, walk your feet a little wider, or you can always walk your elbows a little further forward so that you're not as pulled up towards the ceiling, and it's more about the length of the spine. Allow your breath to carry all the way down towards the fronts of your hips as you breathe in. And then as you breathe out, just a gentle rinse. Inhale, belly presses down in towards the ground. And then exhale, breath presses back up towards your throat and out. Notice any areas of tension, especially between the shoulder blades here. Can you just allow the shoulders to glide towards one another? Soften into the back of your glutes and hamstrings and calves. Even relax your fingertips and your toes. If there's any distractions around you, just take a deep breath and allow your breath to become louder than those distractions. And then just simply let them release. Your attachment to what isn't going right is holding you back from choosing yourself. So whenever you get focused on distractions, on negativity, on what you need to fix or change, you're forgetting how you can choose yourself in that moment. Can you bring it back to simplicity of your breath? For the last few moments of this pose, you can release the block out from underneath your forehead. And then just simply let your chin fall down towards your chest. Gaze is down towards your belly button. So your head hangs heavy. If it feels okay, you can add in little movements, drawing half circles with your chin. Tilt your ear to either shoulder, and then trace your chin towards your armpit, down towards your sternum, and then over to the other side. If this movement is really nourishing and it feels like it's releasing tension, you're welcome to continue. If this movement doesn't feel good or it feels really sticky, you're also welcome to just pause and hold as you are for the next 8 or so breaths. If you need a little bit longer in Sphinx, you're welcome to take it. Otherwise, you can start to pull your elbows out towards the side of your mat and lower yourself down all the way to your belly to rest your cheek or your chin or forehead into cradled hands. If you're craving stillness, just pause here, allowing your spine to come back to neutral. If you are craving some movement, you could just gently rock your hips side to side, pressing the fronts of your hip bones into the mat. If you need a bigger rinse of the lower back, bend into your knees, heels to the ceiling, and just windshield wiper your feet to the left and to the right. Notice how sensation has started to fade. The next time that your feet come back up through center, you just gently release tops of your feet down. Bring your chin to your mat, hands plant underneath your shoulders, and press yourself back up to tabletop. And it might even be nice to send your hips back to your heels. You can take some movement in this transition if that felt especially sticky. Sometimes as we come in Sphinx, you feel a little bit of tension in the low back. So if there's some movement that releases that, you're welcome to take it. Usually a rounding of the spine will feel nice. And whenever you're ready, allow this movement to bring your feet out to either side so you can sit onto your mat and then extend your feet out in front of you, but bend your knees so your feet can plant. This is more of a restorative fold. The feet will be a little bit wider. Belly will fold in between your thighs, and you're just gonna drape yourself over top of your thighs. So it's not as much about the hamstrings as it is about the lower back. You can use props in between your legs to rest your head on, so stacks of books or pillows. If you have a bolster, you can always use your bolster to hold up your head. Take your feet wider if you need a little more space, but keep a really deep bend in the knees. Always optional if you need extra support under your legs is to slide props like a bolster or pillows underneath your hamstrings, underneath your knees as well. If at any point this feels too much for the back of the neck, as sometimes folds can do, you can always bend your elbows onto either thighs, shins, or your block or bolster, and then just rest your forehead into your hands so that your chin tucks into your chest. Be mindful if this is causing pain, come out of some of the depth. That it's not so much about getting low as it is about allowing the muscles all along your spine to release. And how we release them is simply by breathing. As you inhale, your ribcage expands and lengthens all of the muscles that wrap around your torso. And as you exhale, your ribcage comes back through center and allows for a release of that length. As you inhale, create space, open up. And as you exhale, it's like you're folding in towards yourself. Allow more weight to shift back towards your hips and your tailbone. So instead of becoming light and tilting forward, can you root through your sits bones? Let them press heavier, like they're trying to sink through your mat to the floor. And then through the floor to the earth beneath you. And just follow this steady flow of breathing in and breathing out. Notice if your head rests a little heavier. Notice that your body is allowed to just sink into place. Doesn't have to be ready to move or shift anywhere. As we let go of the tension on the muscles, we're sending a signal to the nervous system that we're ready and we're safe to relax. Find any place of tension and see if you can offer this intention of softness to that space or area within your body. take your time coming out of this shape. Stack your vertebra one by one. Walk your fingertips in towards your body. Gaze and head come up last. Feel the spine lengthen out. And then with a flat back, walk your hands behind you and just lean either into your hands or you can lean down to your forearms. You can just lift your heart. Optional, if you have a block underneath your knees, you may need to roll that out. And you can always take your knees side to side as well if you're looking for a little bit more movement. So either hands or forearms, just finding a neutral spine as you lean back and release the opening of the back body. And then second variation of your fold, walk your hands back up in towards your body. And then this time extend your legs out long. Okay. Shift side to side so you can pick up these soft bits and just bring them out from underneath. If you notice your knees want to curl up, just wedge a blanket or a pillow underneath your knees. So there's a soft bend, but not as much as before with feet planted. And then just start to hinge at your hips, drawing your belly towards your thighs. Now you're welcome to keep a flat back if that feels better for you. But I always like to fold in yin and really relax into the muscles. So again, use any props that you need to fold over top of. This one you're going to feel a little bit more in the hamstrings than the back body. You may still feel opening into the back of the spine, along the rib cage. But notice how more sensation has traveled in towards the backs of your calves, your hamstrings. If folding is not available for some of you, a great way to take this same length can also be legs up the wall. So you're always welcome to lower onto your back by a wall. Turn yourself so your seat goes to the wall and then legs just come up the wall. Okay, heels land against the vertical surface. It won't be quite as intense, but it will still be a release for low back and for the backs of the legs. So I know that we have a couple of injuries, so really just listen to your body and what it needs from you. This really is that Goldilocks effect of not going too deep that you feel like you can't hold or it's a struggle, and not going too shallow that you're not receiving any sensation or lengthening. It's really choosing that middle ground, however that looks tonight, even if it's a little different than some nights. If it ever feels too long in a pose, know you can always come out, meet in a neutral spine and just pause there. And you can meet back into the pose whenever you're ready. Let go of any blame or frustration at your body for not necessarily operating how you might like or how it normally does. And can you choose yourself by finding acceptance of your physical body in this moment? Notice how with this home practice, there is an opportunity to really dive into the internal. Sometimes in a studio setting, we hold back from feeling too deeply, or we hold back from allowing ourselves to really let go. I offer you tonight that space that in the safety and comfort of your own home, that perhaps you give yourself the choice to just completely unwind. Let go of whatever heaviness, frustration, whatever didn't go right. Let yourself feel exactly what you feel, whether that's joy or anger or grief or uncertainty. Emotions are just energy moving through us. As you allow space for that energy to move, think of it like a tunnel. If you open up the end of the tunnel, the energy will release and you'll feel a lightness. If you block those emotions or thoughts or situations from moving through, they'll sit there in your physical form. And so sometimes choosing yourself looks like the shadow work. It looks like the bawling your eyes out or crying out of frustration, being so angry you shake. But that's the release that allows you the freedom to let go. So whatever it is, just feel fully into it in these last few breaths. Knowing there's no right or wrong for what you feel. And that you can have whatever experience tonight's practice needs to be. If you need longer in this fold, if you feel like you've finally gotten to a place of release, you're welcome to stay for some extra breaths. If you are ready to come out, take your time, just slowly, gracefully walking, hands up your legs, stacking vertebra one by one. Head comes up last. And once again, just lean back. You can always circle out the ankles, point and flex the feet. If it feels better to bend your knees, you can take feet wide and knees drop in, or you can always drop your feet or knees left and right. Lots and lots of options. If I didn't mention something that you want to move into, that's always an option. And then gently begin to make your way down onto your back, lowering down onto your forearms, and then all the way down. Hook your knees into your chest and give yourself a gentle squeeze. Might even feel nice to rock side to side. Make sure that you have either 1 or 2 pillows available or your bolster. You'll want something soft for the end of practice. So just something within reach so you don't have to get up off of your back later. And then gently release the sole of your right foot down. Cross your left ankle over top of your right thigh for figure 4. This might be enough to start, and you're always welcome to just play with guiding your left knee away from your body. Otherwise, you can also play with capturing your knees in towards your chest, hands interlacing behind your hamstring or on top of your shin for thread the needle. I really enjoy a little bit of movement to start, so you're always welcome to gently rock a couple of inches to the left and to the right, and you might find somewhere that feels better to settle into. Eventually find stillness, and know at any point if holding onto your leg feels like too much, you can always just float your foot back down and stay in figure 4. Try to balance out any effort that you are currently taking in this pose with equal amounts of ease. Even though you need to give some effort to hold this shape, can you soften into those places of tension? Even the grip of your fingertips, you just relax that gently. Still holding your knee in, but not having to grip so hard. Relax the muscles of your upper arms. Relax the muscles of your face. Unclench your teeth. Allow your jaw to fall away from the roof of your mouth. Relax the skin around your eyes and forehead. Almost like you're smoothing out the creases of your face. If you still have a hold of your shin or hamstring, just gently release the sole of that foot to the ground. Uncross your left ankle. Place your left ankle on the ground and then extend your left leg out long. Once again, bring your right knee in towards your chest. And then wind relieving pose, right knee draws towards your right armpit. So the leg that was crossed should now be the leg that extends. And you get an opening through the front of that hip. If you want more sensation, feel your right heel pull away from your body in the opposite direction of your head. Soften into your left hip crease, knowing that you'll be here for a longer period of time than in our morning practices, that you don't have to push into a depth. Find a middle ground and let your body do the work of bringing you into this pose. Sometimes you'll hear in a yin practice that the moments when you want to give up are the most important moments of your practice. And I believe that the moments you want to give up is when you aren't choosing yourself, when you've lost faith or attention, when you become distracted, disconnected. And those are the moments that are really the most challenging to choose you, to choose a lesser sensation, to choose to drop the ego, and to, on a deeper level, choose what is best for you. Sometimes that is coming out of a pose, but more often than not, it's just a reset. Choosing to come back to your breath, choosing to settle down the anxious thoughts or worries, choosing to let go of having to control and stepping into trust. Gently bring your bent knee over top of your belly, and then release the sole of that foot down. And listen carefully. Extended leg begins to bend up and in towards your chest. Interlace your hands behind the back of that leg and send your heel up towards the sky, opening up hamstrings. Now hands can travel up towards your calf or your ankle. Optional to extend out your right leg, the one that was bent. You can choose the depth, and if you need more room, you can always grab a tea towel or something by you, even your pillow, to wrap around your leg so that your hands don't have to reach quite as far. Try to settle your shoulder blades into your mat. Let the back of your body rest heavy. And simply breathe. Only here for a few more breaths. If you want a little bit more depth, you're you're always welcome to give a little bit of gentle pressure to the back of your extended leg. Bring it in closer towards your heart. Otherwise, just stay as you are for 3 more breaths. After your third exhale, release a grip of your leg that you have pulled in towards you. Bend into that knee and plant that foot onto your mat. Cross the opposite ankle over top. I believe it should be your right ankle over your left thigh. Just make sure it's the opposite side than you started with. You're welcome to pause here, or you can bring your legs in towards your body and hands can interlace along the back of your hamstring or top of your shin. Always optional to add in that gentle rock side to side, eventually finding a quiet place to land. And with each breath that you take in this practice tonight, even if it's starting right now, continue to practice the art of choosing you. Sometimes that means letting go of the judgments of self. Sometimes that means letting go of the judgments of others, because ultimately we are the ones who have to carry that anger, frustration, that negative energy around. Sometimes it means letting go of an unknown future, or letting go of an unruly past. But more often than not, choosing yourself will require you to let go of something that isn't serving you, that isn't working, and choosing to show up with care, compassion, and grace. Can you even just start with the physical body and let go of some areas of tension that you're experiencing in this shape? If you still have a hold of your knee or shin or hamstring, just gently float your left foot towards the ground. Uncross your ankle and place that foot on your mat. And then extend out your right leg. So the ankle that crossed over will now extend out. The foot that was either planted or floated up will now come back in towards your chest. Hands interlace on top of your shin or behind the hamstring, wind relieving pose. Feel a gentle release in the front of your right hip, the leg that extended out. Feel a slight compression into your left hip, the knee that is bent. And then find the rise and fall of your breath. It can be challenging to choose yourself when your world is busy and chaotic. And so even here, just practicing the simplification of the present moment so that you have that choice more clear and available to take. What do you need in this moment? How can you choose you? Gently bring your bent knee back over top of your belly, so hips are square. And release the sole of that foot onto your mat. The leg that was extended, start to bend that knee in towards your chest and interlace your hands behind your hamstring of that leg or of your calf or ankle, extending your heel up towards the ceiling. Optional, the foot that you just planted down can always extend out if you want a release in the front of that hip. But you can always keep your foot planted if that feels more supportive for your lower back. Come to a depth that you can balance out the effort and the ease. Knowing you can always shift and go deeper, or you can always ease out of sensation if it feels like too much. Just feel into your physical body. And as you practice mindfulness of your physical form, you're creating the tool set to allow yourself to feel into the deeper layers of self, of emotions, of your more subtle body. So if today the attention just lands with the soft tissue, your joints, your physical form, know that that's okay. And that is really just one step in the direction of becoming more well acquainted with that internal voice that essentially guides our path in life. How many times we wish something or say something or have this internal urge that magically manifests itself later down the road. And we think we didn't do anything to create that. But that inner knowing creates choices that eventually bring us to what we really needed or wanted in the first place. And so the more that we begin to just listen to our body, our hearts, even the passing thoughts, the less zigzag that road becomes, and the more clear and sturdy our steps of this journey can be, where we don't second guess, we don't control, we just trust that internal voice. Gently release the grip of your hands, bend into your straightened leg, and plant that foot on your mat. Slide up your other leg if it's extended. Walk your feet wide to the edges of your mat, and just gently drop your knees over to the left and over to the right. This is where you'll need your pillow or prop. You can start to find that. With planted feet, knees bent up, pick up your hips enough that you can slide a couple of pillows or a bolster underneath your lower back and sacrum. So think opposite of the front of your hip bones. A couple of options. You can stay here with feet planted. You can take your knees in one at a time and extend your heels up to the sky for a supported waterfall. Or the pose that I really wanted to target the low back and just see how this feels is snail with support. So you'll bend your knees in towards your chest and then allow your hips to roll up towards the sky. And knees can always bend in towards your armpits or your shoulders. You can wrap your arms on top of your shins, behind your knees, or you can just let your arms come down beside you. Knees can stay bent, or you can always extend your legs more into a supported plow, which will give you that length down the hamstrings. Most importantly, focus on the support of your lower back. So this should feel like a release in the lumbar spine rather than an overarching. You may just need to move your bolster further down your spine if you're feeling tension in the low back. That the props are really meant to lift you up and hold you in this curved spine, so that you don't have to use those muscles around your lumbar spine to hold you there. Know that you can always change expressions of this pose if one variation serves you better. If you have extended your toes overhead and back behind, just start to bend into your knees. So your knees come into your chest. Same if you were in waterfall, heels to the ceiling. Bend your knees, heels to the backs of your legs. One at a time, you can start to place your feet down. If you need to pause here for a moment, you're welcome to. Whenever you're ready, pick up your hips enough that you can slide your pillows out from underneath, lowering onto your spine, and then just extending your legs out for final Shavasana. Palms on down beside your body. If you are craving any movements, you're welcome to take them now. The beauty of being in your own home, that you don't have to worry about disturbing someone beside you. I think that a yin home practice really gives us the courage to listen to ourselves without that voice of what will someone else think, or will I be annoying someone, or what will the world perceive me as, and just simply following what it is that you need. Once you have landed yourself in Shavasana, nuzzle into a comfortable place using any props that you need to hold up your head or pillows under your knees, or you can even come onto your belly if you prefer Shavasana on the other side. And tonight, I encourage you to choose yourself by simply allowing yourself to be as you are, to feel what you feel without having to justify it, to explain it, without having to reason why you feel the way you feel, and just simply feel it. When you have felt that long enough, you will be ready to release. Same experience as sobbing. You eventually just come to a place where you can no longer cry, and it's like a heaviness lifts. It's the same thing when you give yourself this right to feel. You let go of the judgments around those feelings, around the situations, and you release the captured energy stored in your body. This is one of the most beautiful practices of choosing yourself. Because it's easy to choose you when you are perfect, and when you're following the rules, and when you're living up to expectations. It's a lot harder to choose yourself when you're in a ball on the cold tile floor, or when you feel like you're failing, or you're not enough. And it's in those moments that I hope you don't give up on this quest to knowing that you are worthy, and then living from a place of that worthiness. I'll leave you here in silence on my end for just a minute or so, and I'll bring you out of this when we're ready. If you need to stay in Shavasana for a little bit longer, trust that choice, that it's okay to just rest here and close off here. If you feel ready to move out of this, just take the next minute or so to wake up your body with whatever feels right for you. It can be completely different than the last time you came out of Shavasana, or it might be the same. But either way, it's a choice to just move. If you are choosing to come to a seat, you can bring your hands to heart center and just humble your chin to your chest, close down your eyes. This is your reminder that you do not exist to make other people comfortable. You do not exist to put everyone ahead of yourself. You exist to live this life fully for you. And when we live and honor our own needs is when we can really show up for others. That it's hard to keep giving if you have nothing left to give. So this is your reminder that you are important and you are worth your own time, care, and attention. I hope that you choose you. From the very bottom of my heart, thank you for choosing me for this journey. And I wish you a wonderful few days ahead. Namaste. I will see some of you Friday morning for a HIPS class. I'm going to send out something tonight if anyone wants me to change the time on Friday. I don't know if a little bit earlier works for other people, so I can always do that. You can let me know if like 7 o'clock would work better for work schedules. I've kind of gotten a bit of feedback of that. You're welcome to comment on blog posts with anything that you've noticed, or you're welcome to kind of use blog posts as a community board to interact with each other. But you can also just do that on your own. And hopefully, tonight's practice was nice and relaxing for you and helped with low back and hamstrings. Okay, thanks for joining, you guys. I'll stay on if you want to chat or have any questions. Otherwise, enjoy your sleep tonight. Thanks, Cherokee.